Hey everyone, welcome to JoJo's World.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a
Good
day it
afternoon.
is.
It's the afternoon.
Is it? Ah, shit,
You're
it
not
is.
wearing a watch, you looked at your wrist.
No, but you're right. It is afternoon right here. See,
He's tapping his wrist.
the big vein tells me the time. His name is Rodney.
I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Nick B, the other one
Nick
of the
B,
co-hosts.
you've rebranded.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going full all in on this vibe.
Full all in on this vibe.
Yeah, everything now is just a big vibe check, you know? Leaving a job, haven't got anything to lose now. We're going all in on vibes, right? If I become Nick, I'm going to become Nick B, right? Right? This is a thing.
If you want.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
all
not
right.
going to stop you.
Oh, okay. I don't like it already. Let's go back to Nick. I'm Nick. Yeah, that feels better.
Yeah, he's Nick.
I'm Nick.
And this is, of course, JoJo's World, our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast, where today we're talking about episodes 37 and 38 of Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
The show about meetings.
The show about meetings and war and authoritarian governments and
Tea.
incredibly strong children.
They just need to sedate him. They just
We'll get
need
into
to
that.
sedate.
We'll get
Oh
into
my
that.
god. Now, Liam,
Nick,
earlier this week,
a week ago.
you sent me a message that just said, Nick, remind me to tell you what my barber said.
Sure.
You have said absolutely nothing about anything to do with that since then.
Well, because we both forgot.
Of course.
Until just now.
But what did your barber say that made you go, well, Nick
Okay.
has to hear this
So-
on the podcast?
Let me set the scene.
Okay.
I went to my barber.
2025.
Yeah.
Year of our Lord.
That's when it is.
Yep. Yeah.
New Sensuchi. The planet Heinesen.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's actually on Odin, but we'll get into that.
Oh, okay, all right.
I tricked you.
Oh.
I turned you into. I exposed you as a fake fan of Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
And or you talking.
Yep. So
So,
I went to my barber.
yeah.
And standard barber experience. I'm getting my hair cut. We make some small talk.
Yeah.
And then we lapse into silence, and I wonder why. I'm not having as much conversation with my barber as the other people in the barber shop are.
And you're just like, listen, it's a one-way conversation. Talk at me, barber. Yep.
But no, I've seen this barber once or twice before, and found them very chatty. So I was like, okay, a bit quiet today. Maybe just not in the mood.
Is there
Not a big deal.
Is there a particular area I should know about? Like, is this in the city? Is
In
this in...
Subiaco.
Ooh, okay. All right. Interesting. For people who don't know, that's like a nice, small kind of vibe to it.
Small kind of.
I'm going all in on vibes. I'm telling you, I'm going all on vibes. It's got a whole heap of cafes. Not a huge
It's
amount
a
of
dying commercial strip.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting
Yeah.
it.
And then her husband, also a barber, came in.
Oh, do they work at the same place?
Yeah.
Oh, this is nice.
And started showing her something on his phone.
Mhm.
And they exchanged a couple of words I wasn't really paying attention to because I didn't want to eavesdrop.
Sure.
And then he showed me. And it turns out what he does is he collects power cords.
What?
Like
what do you mean
power
collect?
cords.
No, but what do you mean collects power
He
cords?
collects them. Like, if he sees, bulk rubbish collection out,
Uh-huh.
he'll go and, cut off the power cord off a toaster or something like that.
Okay.
And what he does
Mhm.
is he sells the valuable copper wiring or whatever in them.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is his hobby, and, he'll walk to work and keep an eye out for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
And then he uses the funds for that to buy incremental upgrades for his wife's wedding ring.
What? Hang on, wait, go back. His wife's wedding ring
My barber.
has a progression system
Yeah.
attached to it.
Associated with selling copper wiring. It's the coolest, most video game ass thing I've ever heard.
So we've had the video game, a game about digging a hole. Now we have the video
What the
game.
hell are you talking about?
A game about
Do I
digging
want to
a
know?
hole.
I don't want to know.
It's
Minecraft,
just
a game about digging a hole.
Yeah. It's just a game where you dig a hole to find buried treasure, but you gain upgrades to the shovel,
Sure.
or you get a jet, whatever. But this man, in the act of finding power cords, has now made
It's an expression of the purest love for his wife.
just to upgrade her wedding ring.
Yeah.
Have you seen their wedding ring?
I mean, I saw the one she was wearing at the time. It was a nice gold band.
How
She's like,
many
I'm going to get a
upgrades?
stone in it soon.
Were there any upgrades?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. I need to know more now. Okay, continue.
No, that's it, really.
Oh, okay.
Thought that was really cool.
That's the dopest shit ever,
Yeah.
though. Holy fuck. Imagine being given a wedding ring that's no, it'll get better over time.
Man, I'm going to live a life that has more, upgrade trees in it. gotta figure out my talent points.
So listen, I've got enough. We can afford one of 2 upgrades.
That's kind of what the Patreon used to be for buying podcast equipment.
Yeah. But it's like,
I mean, still is.
I mean, we still need to buy a thing to go on top of this that isn't just a pillow.
You can't just say on top of this. People don't know what you're talking about.
On top of the noise shield, Liam. The noise shield that protects the world from our noise.
Good God.
But like, if they've got a ring, and I'm hooked. Okay, I'm hooked on this now. If you've got a ring that's going to get upgraded over time, what are they putting onto that?
Some stones, I guess.
Like multiple, just emerald, sapphire,
Rubies, enchanted gems,
lapis lazuli, or whatever.
We've got to have different gem loadouts that support different stats and talents for different situations, right?
If you're casting a magic blue spell, you need
you
the
want
blue
some sapphires.
gem. Yeah, exactly. But like, in my brain, I don't know why, I would have thought there'd be like something that screws on.
Well, modular.
Yeah, exactly,
Modular wedding
exactly.
ring.
So like, they pick between, okay, do you want the top one, or do you want the side thing that like latches in there? And then at the end, when he's gotten all the upgrades, it like spells out their name or something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No.
I'm stealing this idea now.
Okay.
Whoever-
Anyway, I just thought you would enjoy that. I thought it
Yeah,
was
that's
fun to
rad
share.
as hell. Holy shit. Hey, I've got something from our Patreon to share as well.
Ooh.
That's right. So, our kind, giving, generous, and wonderful Patreon, Strike 3.
Strike 3.
Has been messaging.
Strike 3.
They have been messaging a fair bit about things that we have said, namely the bullshit that we get away
That
with.
doesn't sound like something we'd say.
But they said some stuff about Warhammer that I think I was going to tell you about on this podcast.
You think you were?
I mean, I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
So basically, like,
Look.
yeah, there is a Warhammer Fantasy character, and he's one of the few crossover characters in Age of Sigmar, like the Great Horned Rat, technically Karl Franz, but he's a bit different, named Arcan the Black. Now, why is this Tomb King, Arcan the Black...
That's like a mummy?
Yep.
Okay.
Why is he named Arcan the Black, you might ask?
Like bandages.
No. The reason is that he studies black
Slimming.
magic, works for Nagash, who made the Great Black Pyramid, and wears black and purple robes, and is called Arcan the Black because of his teeth.
Which are black.
Basically, he has 3 great loves besides his master, Neferata, candied anything, and smoking.
Ah.
So he's got big black teeth.
Didn't realize they had cigarettes in Warhammer.
Everywhere has cigarettes. You just take a cigar and you're like, I want it smaller.
Slimming.
Yeah. So he loves sweets so much when he was a human, coupled with a lack of dental hygiene, which resulted in his teeth decaying into blackened nubs that splintered by the time he reached 30. Fortunately, after being resurrected into an undead mummy, it somehow restored his teeth.
So he could do it all over again.
Exactly. And since he has no lungs to
The very
smoke with...
pants he was returning.
Yeah, he has no lungs to smoke with and no desire to eat, so there's no more tooth decay.
Okay.
Yep,
Great.
that was it.
All right. Congratulations, Arcan the Black, on your dental glow-up.
If you ever think maybe you need a filling, become a mummy. You know, get resurrected.
Nick,
Yes.
I've got some words of wisdom to share with you.
Go on.
From, not Kunihiko Hikahara, that's the Utena guy, from Yoshiki Tanaka,
Oh my god, that's Legend
the
of Galactic
Legend of
Heroes
Galactic
author.
Heroes guy.
Ooh.
This is the Forbes interview that I shared an excerpt of last week to antagonize you, because the writer of the interview called Dune Provincial,
Yep, which, quite
in
frankly...
comparison to Legend of Galactic Heroes.
Which is just
So
nonsensical,
it's
but go on.
written by Ollie Barder 8 years ago in the Forbes magazine. And I'm going to do some little excerpts because there's a lot of editorializing between the quotes that I'm most interested in.
Okay.
Tanaka admits to being a quiet, pensive child that loved to read, building these huge worlds in his head. I hail from a place called Kumamoto, on an island called Kyushu in the southwestern part of Japan. It is known for its beautiful castle, magnificent volcanoes, and delicious ramen. I've been told that I was a quiet child who would read whatever he could get his hands on. My university had a magazine, and it was running a fiction contest with a 10,000 yen prize. I wrote and submitted a short story hoping to win the money. That was my first piece of fiction. By luck, my work was selected. The magazine then guilted me into accepting 8,000 yen, claiming they didn't have any money.
What? Wait, go back. He was promised 10,000 if he won, and then the magazine went, oh,
Look, we've
shit.
got 8,000.
We haven't actually
We
got
didn't think
10,000.
anyone would actually win.
Also, 10,000 yen is literally like $100.
I think so, yeah.
So,
But this is the past, the bubble economy. Who knows?
but like, Surely someone can go, fuck, you know what, I've got $20, I'll just throw it in to make it even. Like, what? Oh my god, what a joke. Okay.
In terms of my favourite literary works, I enjoy works such as Jean Rey's Malpertuis, or Malpertois, I don't know,
It's something.
and Mervyn Peake's Gormenghast series, where reality takes a backseat to the magical and marvellous. I also enjoy novels that deal with Chinese history. And then the writer chimes in, Gormenghast is definitely an interesting choice, as those novels were partially inspired by Peake's childhood in China, with its culturally intricate landscape. So it makes sense that Chinese history also has an important place in Tanaka's literary preferences. When I read about history, I always find myself wondering why a certain person made a certain particular decision at a given time. I love to imagine alternate realities where things might have turned out differently. In the case of Legend of Galactic Heroes battles, I took historical events and imagined someone making alternative decisions and then extrapolated them from there.
Huh.
Take real battle, put it in space, and imagine if it went different.
Yeah. So,
I can't wait till we get to Space Waterloo.
Space Waterloo.
Yeah, or Space Loo.
I'm just thinking of Dr. Spaceman from 30 Rock. Yes, the greatest war in history, Spacellu.
Agreed.
That's it.
First of all, I think of what a single volume will include, then I split up that volume into 10 chapters and decide what story I want to tell in each of them. My pen does the rest on its own. That makes it easier.
Yeah, imagine having this beautiful magical
Pen that writes sci-fi novels for me. There's a bit of a diversion here where he says he has no involvement in the anime adaptations, he approves the project and leaves it to them. And then his manager jumps in and says, well, no, he does have authority to give notes, and they send him all their in-progress notes from meetings. However, he's yet to exercise any of his rights or offer any guidance.
Amazing. So he's just in the back chilling out, being like, do whatever you want. But then sometimes he can just come in and be like, actually...
Well, there was the anecdote from last time, how he wanted to sit in on all the casting, and for everyone, he was like, perfect.
This guy is it. This one's it. It's like, we had 200 people audition, and they're all getting the role.
One of the final points I was curious about was the various Legend of Galactic Heroes games that had been released, and whether Tanaka was familiar at all with the Homeworld series.
The games?
There's been a few, from what I understand.
Oh my god, okay.
The response wasn't what I was expecting. He says, it must be the publicist responding, manager. This may seem unbelievable, but Mr. Tanaka still uses pen and paper when writing his manuscripts. He doesn't use a computer or the internet, so he really doesn't understand about this game.
Wait, what? He doesn't use the internet?
He doesn't use the internet. He's free. He's freer than any of us.
God, okay.
He doesn't need to hear a podcast.
How old is he again?
I don't know. That's not my job to know how old people are, Nick. It's my job to know about selling copper wire for wedding ring upgrades.
That's fair. Oh my god. Well, I remember over at, back in the day of my game journo days, we had someone who would write with pen and paper for all of their kind of like drafts, and then they would type it up afterwards.
An old-fashioned typewriter.
Yeah, but they still used the internet, so what the fuck is Tanaka?
Well, they were a games journalist.
Well, you have to,
As opposed to a novelist.
Yeah.
Finishing off, I asked what Tanaka enjoys doing in terms of hobbies and what hopes he had for the future. I enjoy bundling up in bed and napping during the winter or when it's cold. Right now, I'm pretty captivated by the American presidential election. I believe this was coming into the 2016 election.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
As for the future, it may sound a bit audacious, but I would like to continue writing things that people all across the world can comfortably enjoy at any given time in history.
Do you think anyone at any given time in history could enjoy Legend of the Galactic Heroes?
I believe we could, and that we will now.
On JoJo's World, a podcast for nerds.
That's true.
That's me!
Episode 37, The Kidnapping of the Kaiser.
Oh my god, what's going to happen in this episode?
They kidnapped the Kaiser.
And that's it, that's the episode.
Seamlessly.
Weirdly seamlessly. But how?
How could it be achieved? Well, we know why.
Yeah, we actually already
undermine the Free Planets Alliance and
do all that stuff.
Strike up a burgeoning alliance between Fazan and the Empire.
Yeah. But how?
But how? Turns out by going into the house and taking him.
That makes a lot of sense.
Let's get into it.
So we open.
We do.
On
Fazan.
Helgen Sinsu...
New Sensuchi.
What?
The New Sensuchi.
The New Sensuchi?
Yeah.
Helgen...
They're bringing back Sensuchi Classic because people didn't like the taste of New Sensuchi.
So we open on the Kaiser's sort of estate.
Yeah,
I think.
New Sansuchi.
It's not pronounced New Sensuchi, is it?
I specifically listened this time.
Oh my god. Okay, we open on New Sensuchi, which is spelled very differently.
N-E-U-E space S-A-N-S-S-O-U-C-I.
New Sensuchi.
Can you use it in a sentence? No.
No, I will not tell you how to say the word New Sensuchi.
Language of origin. German, probably.
Nice try. So, New Sensuchi is the estate of the current...
We've seen it many times before. It's a huge hexagonal parkland with a palace at the centre.
It's actually octagonal.
Fuck you.
It is, look at it!
It is. He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. Listeners, we all make mistakes.
Say it, Liam.
I want to take this moment to humbly apologise to Nick and all of my other haters out there for pulling me up on not knowing basic shapes.
I bet you don't even know how many sides a nine
So there's this
has.
big triangle.
Fuck! So it's this big octagonal estate, right?
Yep.
And it's broken up into 4 quadrants,
Yeah.
more or less, which are north, west, south, wait for it, east.
Yep. So, in what will become prophetic, as we get exposition about the South Garden where the imperial family lives, we see a young boy beating like a servant with a stick.
Wait, is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're not wrong. Oh shit,
You didn't
okay.
notice that when
no,
you were watching?
I just noticed these guys. I was like, oh, they're having a nice day out.
So
Oh.
the East Garden is probably what we've seen the most of so far, where governmental audiences and meetings are held. There will be that huge audience chamber where Reinhold kneeled before the old Kaiser a few times.
Yep.
The South Garden where the imperial family lives, and we see the young 7-year-old Kaiser, what is it, Erwin Joseph
Something like that,
von
yeah.
Goldenbaum.
He's
beating the
beating-
shit out of a servant with a stick.
My God.
And we see, framed through the windows, a beautiful shot with his big teddy bear that later on this very episode he will dismember for no reason.
Oh, what a beautiful boy.
Real Joffrey vibes on this kid. Real Prince
massively.
Andrew vibes on this kid.
Yeah, real
Piece of shit.
real asshole. The west?
A child you would love to punch.
Yeah, I think the west one was with the beautiful women.
Yeah. The so-called Rear Palace is the West Garden where many beautiful women live.
That's all that houses.
Yep. And the North Garden is a hunting park stocked with deer and foxes.
You know, for those days off.
Yeah, for hunting.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, since Reinhardt has gotten into power...
Reinhold.
Since Reinhold has gotten into power, von Lohengrin...
Yeah.
He's just sort of gone, well, fuck this place.
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt.
Am I forgetting the name of the character in this show?
Apologise to the listener. So, yeah, Reinhardt literally is like, hey, there's no point in having... Oh, God, if it's Reinhold...
Reinhard.
Yeah, Reinhardt...
Yeah. We were both right. But especially you.
Yeah.
Listeners, every now and then in JoJo's world, we make mistakes. Like, for instance, consistently forgetting what the name of the guy in the Lipstadt Alliance was.
Wario.
Yeah. I meant the other guy.
Oh. Ooh. Waluigi.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I'm not sorry. There's a lot of names in this show.
We were literally... Well, I was saying, in any Warhammer novel, they have the dramatis personae. And I can only assume that in the books...
Yeah,
they
Warhammer
also...
novels probably invented that.
No, because they used to be in operas. That's why they have it in...
I was being facetious, Nick.
Listeners...
I was making fun of you.
Listeners,
And I
sometimes...
refuse to apologise for that.
I'm going to apologise that I didn't know.
I'm not going to stop talking over you
I-
when you do your apology to the listeners.
I don't know where I'm
Listeners, I think that Nick...
Listeners,
Am
am I being gaslit? Is this...
No, you're just being bullied.
Oh,
It doesn't
okay,
have to be
okay.
gaslighting.
I'm with you, yeah. Anyway, Reinhardt has basically said, fuck the grounds. All the nobles have left after the Lipstadt
Yeah, we
Alliance
don't
thing
need the big
happened.
lavish party grounds because there's no nobles left. They're all either dead or
Yep.
in hiding.
I'm not going to go hunting because I'm not an entitled dick. So just don't worry about those parts
The
of
West
the
and
grounds.
North Gardens have been sealed off, and even in the East and South Gardens, half of the buildings were closed off.
There's no one there. He doesn't want anyone there. There's no point.
So
This
what
is a place
happened
of
to all,
ceremony.
what happened to all the beautiful women who lived in the West Garden?
I literally asked this as we were watching. I was like, but what of the beautiful
What
women?
of the beautiful women? What of the sylphs?
I
The
suspect...
various sylphs
Yeah.
and milfs of the West Garden.
I suspect that what's happened is, as part of the Lipstadt thing, they've either all left...
The Baroness.
The Baroness!
The Baroness!
Oh my god, what of the Baroness?
What of the Baroness?
What of the Baroness?
Listeners,
What of the Baroness?
if you've seen the Baroness, tell her that we miss her, and we truly wish she would come home and own some more Imperial
Some more
nobles.
nobles.
Yeah,
Oh man, I miss the Baroness.
we miss the Baroness.
So anyway, point being, this place is in dire straits. / it's
I mean,
kind of
it's
in
just being
disrepair.
reprioritizing finances and stuff.
But by doing that, it means that half of the grounds are like unguarded.
Yeah.
They're being overgrown. Everything's looking a bit shit.
We transition from the neutral narrator to our conspirators who are going to do the kidnapping, looking over their big palace grounds map, being like, Reinhardt believes that the palace should be protected by living guards and not robots, so...
Sucks to be him.
Yep.
I can't remember either of their fucking names.
Schumacher is the cool guy.
Yep, the blonde
And
guy.
the shitty poet is the shitty poet.
Yep.
He brags that his family,
The shitty poet.
yeah,
Yep.
built part of the palace, and so he knows about some of the secret passages that even Lohengrin might not know about.
The labyrinthian maze.
And he lights up on what I thought was paper on the table, but is in fact a futuristic sort of computer paper.
Oh my god, the remarkable Pro 2. Now with lightable paper.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, capitalism.
A corridor that passes through the what?
Don't worry about it. My brain is just broken.
The west of the North Gardens and comes out at the feet of the statue of Sigismund I in the South Garden. Because, yeah, he's Landsberg.
Yeah.
The Landsberg family built it after receiving direct orders from the Kaiser during the time. And I was like, how appropriate that now I shall be able to save the Kaiser through the very passage that my family built. I'm truly important.
Landsberg from land, Berg from built.
From place.
So they
Land town.
placed this land.
Yeah.
And now there's a place underneath the land that they're going to sneak in, pop out the other side.
Place underneath the land.
This place is complicated.
Sort of great south land that holds the rest of the land up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The labyrinthian maze beneath the House of Leaves.
It's the House of Leaves.
Yeah. So
No Minotaurs.
yeah, so
Unless,
they're
maybe.
gonna sneak in through this big tunnel, steal
They're
the
getting
Kaiser.
in via the Natural History Research Society. I'm not really sure when that was exposited, but it was just basically,
Wait, what?
yeah,
The Natural History Society?
yeah. The problem is how to break into the Natural History Research Society, which is where the entrance to the thing is.
Of course, because it's so old.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, they go back and forth and they're like, we can get the Fazan to cause a distraction for us.
Easy peasy.
Well, they might not want to, but we'll make them.
Yeah. We're the heroes here.
Yeah, I mean, Schumacher knows he's not. He's just doing this for his men back home on Fazan, right?
Yeah. But that makes him a hero.
Landsberg's an idiot. He's what we might call a useful idiot.
Yeah. He is what we would say is a bumbling poet.
Yeah.
That's all.
Meanwhile, in the Fazan High Commissioner's office on Odin, the guy who, the faceless toady who got owned by Lohengrin last episode, it's like,
The faceless toadfish.
yeah, it's like, I sure do feel bad about getting owned in the negotiations last time. And he probably wants more than I can give, but we'll see what we can do.
They're just scheming and just being like, there's one more trick up our sleeve that even he doesn't know about.
But also they speculate fearfully about if Lohengrin just decides to join forces with the Alliance to
Destroy
crush
the Kaiser.
Fazan.
Oh, I thought they were talking about crushing the Kaiser.
That's what they want to happen. But alternatively, now that they've just laid all their cards on the table,
True.
he might just go to the Alliance and be like, hey, they're trying to pit us against each other, let's destroy them.
Yeah. They're trying to use both you and I to further their own needs. How about we destroy them?
And seeing as the Alliance is so heavily in debt to them, they might be like, yeah, sounds good, it gets us out of our loans.
Yeah. And also they're one planet.
But it turns out that didn't happen.
Oh.
Are they just one planet? Because it's the Fazan Dominion.
See, you can be a Dominion and only be on one planet. Because, you know...
But it's the Fazan corridor as well. So I assumed it was like a small area of space with an amount of planets, but isn't necessarily just one.
Oh, maybe. I always assumed it was just one planet. Because they're just like, yeah, we've got mad economic power just being on this one planet because it's the only place you can go. So they just...
Oh, they've done the Stellaris build where you just build one really big tower on one planet.
Yeah, you just turtle that shit hard and then you nuke everyone else late game. Because you're Gandhi.
They briefly debate the possibility of bailing on this plan and killing Schumacher and Landsberg and just pretending that none of it ever happened. But then the faceless toady is like, no, then Kesselink will... It says, the subtitles say that'll just make him happy. Not sure what that's about. But more than anything else, Fazan, the universe, has a huge secret. And the other guy's like, oh, you mean the Earth Cult?
Yes, the very same.
The Earth Cult?
The Earth Cult.
Got some serious Earth Cult scenes in the second episode this week.
Oh, God. Well, we got one
Yeah,
scene.
we got one shot, but it was them watching TV in their secret, sinister cult cave.
With, like, what do they call them? Braziers or whatever they are?
Braziers.
Yeah, braziers.
Braziers.
Bigger than they are. Mm-hmm. Just lit as they're watching TV.
Like a hologram projection.
Yeah, and just the Grand Bishop standing there being like,
Yes, this truly furthers whatever the Earth Cult's goals are.
Incredible.
I keep thinking about how, in the interview excerpt last week that we shared, the author was talking about how initially all of these events were just part of his, like, world-building Bible for another story he wanted to tell.
Oh, and then he had to change it to be...
Well, then he just, like, his editor was like, well, just tell that story.
Yeah.
Like, how... I'm really curious about how...
He did it?
No, how the Earth Cult would have figured into that. Like, would they have just been a footnote in this historical document, or would they have been a main focus of this hypothetical other story?
I do wonder how much of an influence the Earth Cult will actually have by the end of this. Because a piece of me just wants them to be there and just constantly alluded to as, like, influencing stuff.
Well, I think we made this comparison previously, but it really reminds me of Fire Emblem Three Houses, where it's like a secret cult that's manipulating all the three factions or whatever. But that's like a tactical video game where in the end, you can get the true ending and fight the cult.
Of course.
This isn't that kind of story.
No, this is a linear narrative, which just has them kind of here. But I do wonder, are they ever going to make a play, right?
Well, they're doing it through Fazan right now, right?
But that's like manipulating Fazan and also...
But also Rubinsky has his own goals.
But also they have their fingers with the Free Planets Alliance.
They have their... Oh, through Trunicht.
Through Trunicht. But they're not doing anything there, as far as I can tell yet. They're just sort of like, we've aided you.
Not that we've seen.
I'm doing big wide eyes at Liam being like, oh, not yet at all. Oh, not yet, but soon, maybe?
There's a couple of scenes where we get one-on-one meetings between Lowengram with, not Rubinsky, Oberstein.
Yep.
And another one with, names in this show, I swear to God, Hildegard von Mariendorf.
Yes.
And they both have a sort of angel and devil on his shoulder type thing where Oberstein is like, it doesn't matter if the man that we hold responsible for the kidnapping takes his own life because someone's got to be held responsible. And as the ruler, you cannot rule with clean hands.
And Lowengram's all like, yes, monarchs, no clean hands. You make a good point, Oberstein. But what would Kirkgeist do?
Yeah, and Mariendorf is like, am I to understand that you're allowing the kidnapping to go ahead? And he's like, yep. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, I sometimes do wonder though, what would Kirkgeist think? It's sort of like Oberstein justifies it as sometimes death is...
Oh, he's very much an ends justify the means.
Yeah, sometimes letting them, die brings a certain amount of honor, and it's like less painful than letting them live with the shame. And Mariendorf is all like, well, yeah, but what the fuck?
Pretty much. But she still, like, is ultimately loyal to him, and he ends the meeting by giving her an order to, like, advance his plans, and she doesn't question it.
Yep. It's all very conspiratorial / political /
There's
cool, clear cybernetic eyes.
There's a close-up on those cool, clear cybernetic eyes when Oberstein says, but at times, Your Excellency, it seems to me as if you forget very rudimentary things. All heroes have established thrones atop not just their enemies, but a large quantity of allied corpses as well.
Oh my. Oberstein, oh no.
And, Reinhardt shoots back. So I'm guessing you wouldn't mind spilling your own blood as well. And he's like,
I wouldn't.
No, not if the timing was right, Your Excellency.
I would absolutely shed my own blood for your Lowengram.
There's that meme that's been making the rounds recently, which is, it's in the format of, like, group chat text.
Yep.
And it's someone saying, is anyone else thinking of conspiring against their sultan? You have been removed from the Grand Vizier chat. you have been added to Grand Vizier chat secret. That's Oberstein, right?
Yeah, that's Oberstein right there. Just like, yes, we'll talk in front of the Admiralty. By the way, stay back a moment. I think we need to kill the Admiralty. Oh, man. Good shit.
There's a meeting between Schumacher and the Fazan commissioner where they, organise their escape, and Schumacher negotiates hardball, being like, you need to create a distraction, which is some false Republicans in the city, then blow up their office.
Yep.
And he's like, but I can't do that. What about the casualties? And he's like, shut up. Remember when I put that gun up against your neck?
And he's all like,
that was the other guy, actually. That was a blonde guy.
Yeah.
But
But
same
he's all
principle.
like, okay, yeah, sure, okay. We'll do what we have to because I don't really have much choice in this matter.
Yeah. Oberstein goes home, and his butler is there that he has, apparently. It's like,
And his dog, don't forget he has a
that's true,
Dalmatian,
his beautiful dog.
which is like, Oberstein has a dog? How could a man so callous own such an honourable friend?
And he doesn't get any wine because
He knows
that he's about to get summoned back because Reinhardt has realised that he forgot to discuss potential successors to the Kaiser after
After the kidnapping of this Kaiser that he wants to happen so that they can go make their own state elsewhere. But who's going to take over this state?
So he walks in and Reinhardt is like, he's got his hand on his chin and his elbow resting on his tail, and he's like, don't tell me you didn't expect this. You couldn't have been here so quickly if you didn't expect this, Oberstein, you little bitch.
Yes, I'm the little bitch here, sir.
They go back and forth, they talk about potential successors, and they land on...
the 8-month-old
Okay,
baby?
we've got to go into this conversation in detail because it's crazy.
Okay.
So they talk about the daughter of Count Pegnitz, who is the granddaughter is the grandchild of the third Kaiserine of the previous Kaiser.
Yep.
Her father, Count Pegnitz, didn't take part in the Civil War. Quote, he's a man who has no interests other than his collection of fine ivory objects.
This fucking guy. Just madness.
So, given the circumstances, even though it's traditionally a male, a patriarchal society, in this circumstance, a Kaiserine might do. She's 8 months old.
Yep.
So,
Just a wee baby.
that's great for Reinhardt as well because it's longer before a Kaiser comes of age and
kills him.
assumes the formal ruling
Yep.
of the empire.
And they would never think to kill him. Like, they'd never think.
Fine. We'll give the baby the throne. As a child's toy, it's not much fun. But a baby who has such a toy will be happy, even if alone in space.
Dun, dun, dun. So, they're gonna let that baby take
We can't skip past this quote.
No?
By the way, Oberstein says, Count Pegnitz's payments for fine ivory objects are in arrears.
We were like,
I
what?
really want to see Count Pegnitz in a future episode being like, look at all of my fine ivory objects.
What if we go to the house and it's like, well, we just have to move these fine ivory objects. Nothing can break.
Sit down, have some tea. Look at my fine ivory china and fine ivory silverware.
Wait a minute, Count. Am I sitting
on
an ivory
just
chair?
admiring my fine ivory fainting couch.
Well, okay. Is this tea in a... Now, you never bloody said that your fine ivory was a teacup, you bloody dog.
Why, even the tea itself is brewed from only the finest of ivory.
What? Why? Why would you...
What are we getting ivory from in Space Year 798?
Wherever in the north part of that house.
Do we have alien animals?
What do you mean? What are you talking about, alien animals?
Because it's
in
space.
real life? Yeah.
Is it only animals they've exported from Earth? Or are there alien animals out there that are new, fresher sources of even finer ivory?
My suspicion would be, because it's the Empire, they would have just taken the animals with them. Because they're all like, yeah, we're going to spread across the world. And so they would have brought them with them.
The Earth cult really wants to get back to Earth for some of that fine Earth-based ivory.
The true ivory. Maybe it's made out of people? Who knows?
Count Pegnitz out there in his fine ivory tower looking down on the common man.
The literal ivory tower.
I'm so fixated on this, but they just kept saying that phrase, fine ivory objects.
Oh, it really makes you think about the priorities.
I want this man
here.
to be like the hunter from Jumanji,
Yeah. You mean his dad?
I mean, yes, but...
but the hunter guy who comes out of the book.
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt. Yeah. Who's all like, much better, and then gets
safari
the M16.
suit, big moustache, hunting gun.
Yeah.
That's what I want Count Pegnitz to be.
Just a safari
You
hunter.
know, Prince Lowengram, I'm awfully disappointed you closed the hunting reservation in the North Gardens. But I wonder if you might permit me to release maybe 6 to 12 elephants and rhinos into it, just so that I can hunt some of their fine ivory.
Is this why you brought your fine ivory gun?
Yes, my fine ivory elephant gun for harvesting the finest of ivory elephants.
Have you made fine ivory bullets for that gun?
Yes. And now to kill myself with them.
Oh god, we're literally back in that part of the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, point
I'm
being,
just fascinated by this guy and I'm really intrigued.
yeah, point being, his fine ivory is in arrears.
Yeah, he's
Someone's got a debt on them.
75,000 imperial marks. That sounds like a lot of money, but we have no
way of knowing how much that is.
landmark for how much that is in
It's probably-
modern day Earth dollars.
Yeah, $7, maybe?
So they arranged for that to be paid off because it wouldn't do for the new Kaiserin family to be,
In debt.
for his father to go to debtor's prison.
without liquidity.
So Oberstein walks out, then Reinhardt says worthless to himself and spits on his own desk or floor.
Oh my God.
Someone's got to clean that up, man.
Yeah, with a fine ivory broom.
Finest of ivory bristles. To clean the finest of ivory in your mouth. Sorry, I pivoted to toothbrushes in my brain there for a second. Don't know how that happened.
I thought you held your hands up to your face. I thought, is fine ivory growing as your beard?
No, I went...
Do you have like beardaments?
Here's what
or
happened in
something?
my brain.
Yeah, okay.
Is broom,
Bristles.
brush bristles, ivory teeth, toothbrush.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah. His fine ivory is from the finest of elephant teeth.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
And what if he's an elephant?
Like a Babar.
Yeah. Oh, that makes
Babar,
it
that race traitor.
makes it a much darker story if ivory is being sold. Oh. It is July 6th.
Yeah.
At some indeterminate time late at night.
The distraction goes off and Kessler, who you may recall is the man with the grey swooshes on his hair either side of his ears.
Yep, I forgot, and then Lowengram said Kessler, and I was like, oh, that's Kessler.
Head of the secret police.
Yep.
Took his childhood sweetheart off, or attempted to take his childhood sweetheart off planet to be abandoned to...
Those cowboys. Was it the cowboys?
What are you talking about?
The farming planet that he was like, I could make
They
a
weren't
life here.
cowboys, but it was a farming planet. But
Yeah.
no, you're thinking of the other planet in the subsequent episode.
Oh, okay. Right.
Remember that was like kind of two-parter?
Yeah. I vaguely remember. Very vaguely.
One about abandoning Imperial planets and taking all their food, and another about Alliance efforts to maintain supply lines and food.
Yeah.
The first one of those.
Was Kessler.
Yeah.
And the second one was that random guy who's like,
Yeah, that was just a self-contained
yeah.
story about well-meaning people getting killed.
yep. Man, good times. Anyway, Kessler, king of secret police, is all like, all right, I'll go look into these Republicans.
And there's a moment where he realizes everything that's going on, and like people's faces flash up in his mind. But he's a loyal subordinate, so he
He's
doesn't
like,
say
I
or do
guess
anything
I'm
about it.
Yeah, I guess I'm following through with this plan because even though I know what's happening, it's all part of the plan.
Yeah.
It's all a ploy, but so am I. Coming to you live, July 6th FM.
Yep.
Yep.
There is a moment where he raises the Fazan infiltrators in the meeting, but Oberstein's like, no, we don't need to talk about that.
And he just walks out.
Yep.
He's like, I get what's going on. So they go raid this place.
They sneak into the bottom of the Natural History Research Society, and Utena style, Landsberg holds out his signet ring and opens the secret passage.
Oh my god.
Absolute Destiny apocalypse.
Absolute Destiny apocalypse.
They have to win the duel against the Kaiser's nanny
Yeah.
to take possession of the Rose Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, yep. The Kaiser also just kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Okay, so so our two boys,
They sneak in,
they sneak into the Kaiser's room.
and this horrible child is sitting on the edge of his four-poster bed, ripping the ears and arms off a teddy bear before he even realizes they're there. And then when he sees them, Landsberg kneels, and he immediately screeches, why doesn't he kneel? At Schumacher, who hasn't kneeled yet.
And Landsberg's like, you need to kneel. This is the ruler of all space. Sit down.
So he does, and Landsberg is like, Your Majesty, I'm here to rescue you. And
And he really
he's
just
not listening,
begs.
he's just tearing the limbs off this teddy bear.
Yeah, Landsberg is like, please, there's some bad people outside and we need to go right now because we're going to get you somewhere safe. And instead of listening to him...
He throws the teddy bear at them and turns around, so Schumacher picks him up, He briefly cries out because I'm sure he's never been manhandled in such a disrespectful way. Put hand over mouth, but someone hears.
He's all like, Kaiser, are you okay in there?
They hide either side of the double doors. And this old lady comes in and is like, oh, where is he gone? Oh, look, he's torn up another teddy bear.
Ah, that piece of shit.
Yep.
And then turns around and sees
The two of them.
Landsberg and Schumacher.
They're holding out guns at her, but they don't need to blow her brains out because she passes out.
And she's like, ah.
I've got Andrew Fork disease.
So she doesn't die, but dies.
Yeah. And we cut a bit ahead in time where Vice Admiral Malt, the man in charge of security, arrives, interrogates some of the staff, and eventually, they're all panicking, but eventually he figures out what's happened.
They do some infrared analysis.
Yeah, and there must be a secret passage in that statue, but we can't destroy it without your approval because it's the statue of the Kaiser.
Not the Kaiser, which I
no.
found insane. But anyway, so they dare not touch that statue. Malt is disappointed in all of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, that fucking brat.
They basically get away seamlessly.
Yep. There are some conversations that Lowengram gets summoned to with the Admiralty and Mariendorf.
He's in his reception chamber and he's got Kessler and Maltz in front of him. He reprimands Kessler and tells him to find them. And he says to Maltz,
I'll deal with you later.
Wait in your private chambers till noon and put your affairs in order.
And he's like, yes, of course, my lord.
Yep, and then he killed himself off screen.
Yep. Literally, he's one of those guys that's like, well, death before dishonor.
Yep.
Blammo. So,
just as Oberstein predicted.
Yep. Blood on the monarch's hands. You know how it goes.
Yep. Hildegard has that conversation with him we alluded to earlier where she's like, you knew this was coming. And he's like, yep. And she's like, oh, well.
Well, I hope you know what you're doing.
Oh, a good exchange in that. So he's like, I'm not aligning myself with Fazan. I'm just using them. And she says, do you think you can twist Fazan around your little finger? And he says, they tried to twist me around their little finger.
And there's this big circular double helix ass finger.
We shall see whose little finger twists around whom, Fazan, Adrian Rubinsky, the black fox who does not enter the room but stands at the window going, yes, ha ha ha, yes.
He plays the flute in the darkness, never taking the stage.
Adrian Rubinsky.
Yep, that's him.
I don't know if that whistling is going to pick up very well.
Oh, look, I can try. I need a real flute for that bit.
Yeah.
I wonder how much a flute costs.
Many dollars.
Yeah, okay, probably more than the Patreon money.
Yeah.
New goal.
New goal, get Nick a flute to ruin the podcast.
It's not a recorder, it's just a flute. It's going to be so much worse. Well, recorders are really easy to get.
Oh, I see.
You know, you get one in like primary school.
Yeah.
But a flute, you're not going to get one in high. Oh, maybe you do get one in high school actually, but they're not cheap.
I didn't.
They're not cheap. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Strange diatribe.
Yeah.
We should get Nick a fine ivory flute.
If we could get me a fine ivory anything, I think
Fine
I'd immediately
ivory Xbox controller.
Yeah, whoever gave it to me, I'd be like, why the fuck did you do this?
Why that poor animal? That poor orangutan.
That poor orangutan, his femur, his precious femur.
It's okay, we set him up with a robot leg.
We gave him cool, clear cybernetic legs.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate it.
Reinhardt assembles his admirals and vice admirals and says, there was a minor incident tonight in New Sansuchi. Someone abducted a 7-year-old boy. And all the admirals speculate, basically playing into Reinhardt's hands, being like, oh, it was probably the Alliance, or maybe someone who's going to go and seek
Some kind
seek
of...
sanctuary in the Alliance territories, basically doing the work for him and giving the rationale to wage war in the Alliance in future.
He's incepted them without incepting them. Or as I like to call it, Charles Mansoning them.
Decepted them.
He's
Deceived them.
future-cepted them. Wait, decent?
Yeah, I was being clever.
Oh, wow.
Thanks.
Oh. So they all have a chat and then they all get dismissed.
And they're told to not tell anyone, but keep their fleets at readiness.
Just in case some,
Just in case we have to go wage untold levels of war on the Alliance.
Which wouldn't... Look, we're not saying we're going to go to war. But if anyone was going to say we're going to go to war, it's not me.
And then on the way out, as the sun rises, Mittenmeyer invites Ruenthal for breakfast at his place.
He's like, I know, it's a bit forward.
But would you like to have breakfast with me?
And Ruenthal is all like, you know what?
I think I would.
It's a bit brash, but hey, why not? Why not enjoy life?
Breakfast at this hour?
Crazy. The sun's just coming up.
Maybe we'll get to fight Yang Wen Li soon. And that's
End
the
of
end of the
episode. A month passes.
Yes, it's August. In
August.
space.
In space. Ooh.
We have a scene on the Fazan merchant ship that,
The Rocinante.
yep,
That's Don Quixote's horse.
if you say so.
Yeah, I know this because of The Expanse.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the name of the ship in The Expanse.
Oh, I wonder if it's the same ship.
It could be. The ship they have is like ex-military, and they're like, what's its name gonna be? He's like, it's the Rocinante, and they're like, that's a terrible name for a ship. Why the fuck would you name a ship Rocinante? He's like,
Why not?
well, because it's a Don Quixote reference. They're like, yeah, no shit it is. But that horse was garbage. Why would you name our ship that horse?
I'm not super familiar with Don Quixote.
I
know he was a delusional nobleman in a story who
Yeah.
saw windmills as large monsters.
Yeah, and his horse was bad, but very loyal.
Okay.
Very loyal, but very bad horse. And I think by the end of it, he was like, I've done so well. And everyone's like, what the fuck? What? Have you? And that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the narrator talks about how Fazan gets an important income stream by using its political neutrality and freedom of movement between the two states to smuggle refugees from the Empire into Alliance space. And that is our lead into them doing that with the Kaiser, as one of the ship's staff has been beaten to a pulp by this 7-year-old.
This fucking kid, like, you know the guy with
The guy comes in, and first we just see his arm with his rolled up sleeve covered in grazes, and then it cuts to his face and his hair is disheveled, and
He's got bruises everywhere. We would expect this from the big guy who was, like, hungry with the axe.
it looks like someone who is the big guy who was hungry with the axe.
You know, the guy
Yeah.
that they went with the axe, and he was like, I'll never die.
It looks like someone who's in the early phases of a DBZ fight. Just the amount of scuffage he has.
Or like someone who's survived like a traumatic event and is now coming to like the leader of a society.
My liege, my people demand refuge.
Exactly,
The orcs are raiding the western
Yeah.
fields.
He looks like a peasant in a Warcraft thing.
But he's been beaten up by a 7-year-old.
Yeah, and that 7-year-old is the Kaiser. So the captain...
And they don't know he's the Kaiser, they just think he's a spoiled noble's
Yeah.
kid.
So the captain is all like, all right, well, listen, you stay here. I need someone to go take care of this kid. He looks over at another one of the ship hands.
They're all like, no, not me, not me.
And he's like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll go deal with it myself.
So he goes to this secret compartment and he does all these finance words to unlock it. I've got a few.
I didn't even click that together.
Photos of a few of them, but there was 5. Bank, deposit, economy. I missed the rest, but then he ends it with his name, Captain Poimel. But there was 5 of them.
I think it was like bank, cash, deposit, economy. I think that was it, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Point being, Fazan loves money.
It's true.
It's like fucking Ferengi, but ridiculous.
I don't know what that is.
They're the big-eared guys from Star Trek who are all about money. Like wheeling and dealing.
Okay.
And they're all like, hey...
Like the Gek from No Man's Sky.
Yes, 100%. They're very much like, hey, you know how we got this ship? We bought it with money. And we're going to buy you out with money. How do you say to that? They're like, oh yeah, sure. What do we pay you? It's like, well, that's the beauty of this transaction. You don't need to pay us because we'll get rich if you just sign this contract. Like, okay, what does the contract say? You give us all your money. Huh? Pretty sneaky, isn't it? They're like, okay, that's a bad deal. It's like, no, it's a great deal for you. Great deal. They're very wheelie and dealy.
I see.
Big-eared motherfuckers.
Captain Bummel walks into the hidden cabin, immediately gets hit by a plate of soup.
And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
And the Kaiser is standing on the table and pulling the hair of a young woman who I guess is there to look after him.
That's the beautiful woman.
From the Western Palace.
Ah, the only one left. And the captain is like, listen, you got to discipline that
this
fucking
kid's
kid.
a fucking wreck.
This is a nightmare.
Landsberg puts a fistful of coins in his hand. It's like, sorry about the trouble.
Listen, you need to go home and rethink your position here. And he's all like, all right, we'll just
have
take
some money.
It's like, all right, we'll just take care of the fucking kid, all right? Young lady, come with me.
Yeah, she can go to the first aid infirmary now because we're out of Imperial space.
Yeah. And he just rants. It's like, kids need to be disciplined and you need to look after yourself.
Someone needs to kill that kid.
You're not related to that kid, are you? No response. What if?
Anyway, there's a Rubinsky scene where he's like, the scheme sure is going well, but Baltic, our High Commissioner on Odin, really fucked up by telling him the whole plan, telling Reinhard the whole plan.
Which was fine, but actually no.
I think there's some question as to who manipulated who. That's it, really.
Yeah. Father, I'm going to leave now.
Yes. And then he drives away in the night. That is to say, Kesselink does. And it's a bit sort of Akio Ottery going for his night drives with the students.
Who is Aki? Oh, you mean from Utena?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Right?
got that vibe, yeah.
In his space DeLorean.
I don't know if it's quite as sensuous, but...
But he does go to see the femme fatale that we've seen on Fazan once or twice before. What is her name? Dominique Sanpiel or something?
Saint-Pierre.
Yeah, Dominique Sanpiel. And she's there in her, like, evil femme fatale sex dress with her hair, like,
Lavishly.
over one eye.
She's
like,
just like, please have some wine. And we're like, oh, have some wine.
and he's all, I want some info on the Earth cult Bishop Degsby, who we've seen once before.
Yep.
Kesselink wants to find out his weaknesses so he can use him and make him his subordinate.
A real Rubinsky.
He seems to be asceticism. How do you pronounce this word?
Asceticism.
Okay.
So he is an ascetic.
Yes. I always said it ascetic.
No, because that's aesthetic. So that's like how they look.
That's not what I was saying, but...
Ascetic would just be arse-etic.
Anyway,
he's an ascetic.
yeah.
Incarnate.
And we all know what that means.
Yeah, we play Dark Souls. Right? No food, no money, no water, no how. That's how ascetics be. And he has no problems because he's an ascetic.
Well, allegedly. But maybe Dominic Sanpiel will have some info on him that will...
He likes to drink the wine of San Piel, if you know what I'm saying.
San Pellegrino.
Oh!
That's nothing.
That's everything. That could be the secret. What if he really likes drinking?
Anyway, Kesselink lavishly sups from some brandy and is like, I will never be taken advantage of. I'm making big plays.
I'm the money that pays.
Yeah, I'm going to kill Adrian Rubinsky.
My papa.
He didn't say that, but, you know, he might.
He could say it. He's like going through that whole Sith thing, right?
Yeah, rule of two.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got Adrian Rubinsky as like, father, I'll take over your reign one day by murdering you through money.
There's this whole thing now, we cut to Isolone Fortress, and Dusty Attenborough is gossiping with Julian about how much Shenkop and Poplin are getting laid.
And everyone's like, hey,
there's this whole thing where it's like, I heard that a few mornings ago, Shenkop came out of one female officer's room just as Poplin was coming out of the female officer's room right next door. And then a few days later it happened again, but they were coming out of the opposite rooms. And then Poplin wandered us in and was like, hey, I don't think it's fair that you're naming me, but not the female officers.
And then Attenborough says, that's because women have human rights, which I fucking
Everyone's
love.
having fun.
Yeah. Even at this point, Yang, I think, is having a bit of fun as well. Because someone wants him to sign some documents or something.
Kazunu.
Yeah, Kazunu wants him to sign some documents.
He's just doing crosswords or whatever.
Yeah.
Reading manga.
And they say some shit.
They talk some shit.
You know, they're all like, well, what a bad influence these officers are going to have on
Poplin
Julian.
makes some joke about how he's never going to turn 30 because he's a higher form of life who will rejuvenate at 29
ascendant.
every year.
Yep.
Because Dusty's recently turned 30 and he's insecure about it.
Yeah.
It turns out that Shenkop is like...
34?
Yeah.
And you thought he was like 50.
He looks like he's in like mid-40s.
I know, I thought he was...
With that strong jaw.
Yeah, and the sideburns.
Yeah.
No one has those sideburns anymore. Not at 30. And then they're all like, oh, what a terrible influence these officers are on Julian. And Yang's all like, ha ha ha. Yeah, war is hell.
Trunicht, Supreme Counselor of the Free Planets Alliance, makes a big announcement about how the Kaiser has allegedly defected to the Alliance. And they're establishing a government in exile within the Alliance borders.
Big, split, frame, anime, shots,
sort of
shock,
Voltron-style intercut shot of like everyone looking shocked.
They're just like, the Kaiser?
And they announce the members of the government in exile, led by...
young Kaiser boy.
But
obviously he can't run
actually led by...
so I can't remember who the actual leader will be.
He's a guy who's like been around in very minor capacity before, I think. Johann von Remscheid.
Yeah, he is.
Yep. It's actually really important to like have a consistent shite cycle so you can go in and out of Remscheid.
You know, try not to have too much screen time before, you know...
Before it's time to shite.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to Remscheid.
Yeah. And he announces that Merkatz is going to be the head military counselor of their government in exile. And
Merkatz?
Merkatz and his little offsider are like, well, we never heard about this.
This is the first time we're seeing and or hearing this ever.
Yeah.
This is...
And Yang is like, no, it's fine, we believe you.
Yeah. I think what's probably happened is that there's some weird power play bullshit happening.
Yep.
They want Merkatz to come because there's loyalty to the Kaiser.
And to give him an air of legitimacy because he helped defend Kaiser Fortress.
Yeah, because all this stuff has happened and everything's now the Kaiser's here. It's all very political.
And Poplin, I think, is rightly pretty incensed that, they've spent all these years fighting against the Golden Bomb dynasty, but now that it's politically convenient, they are sheltering the heir of that tyrannical dynasty
nearby, just
within their borders to make further war against Lowengram.
Yep.
Who, even though he is a dictator, is doing a lot of more
peaceful things, I guess.
Democratic reforms.
Yeah.
Or if not democratic, then as we've covered in previous episodes,
non-autocratic.
Giving more benefit to the common people.
Yeah, and I think
definitely autocratic.
Somewhat less.
His whole succession
scheme.
philosophy is, I'm going to rule until one of you kill me.
Yeah. But also he's like, and we're going to spread the love more rather than just the nobles.
We're not going to hoard wealth.
Yeah.
Invest in infrastructure.
Yeah, we're going to give
and class mobility.
Yeah, we're going to fix what Thatcher started.
God, I'd love to fix Thatcher.
Okay, I'm glad that you made the punchy noise, because for a minute I was like, she is dead.
Yeah.
So...
You're allowed to say it about Thatcher because she's already dead.
Ah, that makes some sense.
Who else could I be talking about? It doesn't matter.
So, I think Poplin's like, they're just going to commit war on us. Do we want war? I don't want war. War sucks, man. Vaguely.
But also, we're now defending the man.
We're defending the bad guy that we were fighting against this whole time. And now they're just going to be like, well, let's kill them all. It's like, dude, that's fucked.
And he's like, well, do any of the Golden Bombs have rights to ask for humanitarian exile after, the billions that their family has killed?
War.
And the other guy, the other pilot, whose name we never learned, says, it's his forefather's crime. It's not that child's fault. It's not that awful 7-year-old child's fault. So everyone is obviously very perturbed by this turn of events. They have a meeting at the big conference room in Eyes Alone, and there's a fun little sequence here where what happens is, as they're all talking and laying out the geopolitical situation, Yang pours himself a glass of wine into his mug. Julian moves it further away from him so he can't do it again.
Yeah, he looks very annoyed that Yang is pouring this
You shouldn't
wine.
be drinking the wine in an important meeting, or brandy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he moves it just out of Yang's reach, from out of shot, Attenborough reaches across, grabs it, pours himself one, and then literally everyone in the room pours themselves a drink because shit's bad and they all need to cut loose of it.
And Julian's just like, fuck me.
Even Kazel knew. Straight, simple Kazel knew.
Well, he tries to, but it's empty by the
That's
time
true,
it reaches it. Julian's so disappointed.
It's probably brandy, I think, or something like that, because they've already got coffee that they're topping up with.
Yeah. And what goes well with coffee? Brandy. What is brandy? Like, I know what rum is, but I don't actually know what brandy is.
It's a spirit.
No, but... Well, I mean,
Is it a kind of whiskey?
I don't know. Now you're with me here. Okay,
brandy is what I used to make eggnog.
Brandy is what you used to... So is it like rum?
No, it's brandy.
But what is it? What is it?
It's produced by distilling wine.
So it's not even a spirit.
It's a liquor.
Is it a liqueur?
No, it's a liquor.
Okay.
It's a digestif.
A digestif. Oh.
Cognac.
Oh, is it like cognac kind of thing?
Cognac is a kind of brandy.
Cognac is a kind of brandy?
It's a product.
Oh, okay.
We're learning.
We're learning all the things.
I might cut all this. It makes us sound really stupid.
Well, I mean, who on this earth is ever going to be like, yeah, I totally know what every kind of thing on the planet is? It's like,
not everyone knows how to do everything.
What the hell, man? Like, don't you know how to drive?
No, and I'm scared. Good sketch.
Good skit. Anyway, they're all getting drunk except for the left-hand side of the table.
Because they ran out of
brandy.
Or
whiskey. Something. They ran out of that stuff. And Yang has some moments of introspection that boil down to, maybe Lowengram is plotting this whole thing out. Maybe war is coming.
Yeah, once again, Yang effortlessly deduces what people he's never met
are thinking.
What their schemes are and what their motivations are.
And he's like, what if, really, we're going to have to go to war because 25 billion years ago.
But because we've got the Kaiser here, the Alliance forces will be splintered along public opinion, but it gives the Empire motivation to invade us, Casus Belli style.
Just a whole lot of very wise takes.
Yeah. And then somebody doesn't even share. But he's doing like this nervous thing as he's thinking, where he's like running his hands along the brim of his hat.
Yeah, you can tell he's
The
like...
interior brim.
He thinks maybe wars are coming.
Yeah, everyone does. That's why they're drinking.
Yeah. Everyone's chilling out, but everyone's also tense. War.
One of them says, maybe a Knight syndrome is spreading in the capital. Let's fight for justice to protect the child Kaiser from the hands of the tyrannical and unscrupulous usurper. They call it justice to restore Golden Bomb Dynasty's tyrannical power. Looks like we need a new dictionary. Anyway, that goes on for a while.
I think that's like half the episode is in this room.
No, it's not. It's one scene.
But it goes so long.
They ask Merkatz if he's going to be a part of this
new regime.
Government in exile, and like it sounds like he's leaning yes, because even though he fled the Empire, he is still ultimately loyal to the Kaiser, and the Kaiser is there.
Yeah. He can't...
But his dream is for the Kaiser to become a normal, ordinary citizen.
Ah.
Which is impossible because he's already a psycho.
He's already both psychopathic and also a dickwad.
Yeah. And there's this whole thing between
Yang and
Shenkop, where Shenkop talks about how, as active duty soldiers, they're not allowed to publicly criticize these decisions. But Shenkop fled the Empire with his grandparents when he was just 6 years old, 28 years ago.
So what is freedom?
So, he already said goodbye to his homeland once, and if this breaks bad, he might need to do it again. And he's done it once before and survived. So
why not?
Yeah,
yeah. He basically is like, if we can't have free debate, what the hell's the point of free speech? Kind of thing.
He says. I think Yang says, as a ironically, as a soldier, you're free to think, but never free to speak.
Truly.
It's already 28 years ago, but I remember it well. The contemptuous looks of the customs officials, penetrating as coldly as the wind, treating exiles like beggars. I probably won't forget it until I die. Yep, that's Shenkop's whole deal.
Good times.
There's this whole thing where Merkatz and his single offsider, whose name I don't think we ever got.
Ooh. It wasn't... He doesn't have the same name as the other guy, does he? The one with
the same name... Conrad?
Yeah.
No, he's not one of Conrad's.
No. I can't remember.
Anyway, they have this back and forth about how here at Isolone, even though he has no formal,
full-on authority
title or formal place in the command structure of the Alliance, here he led the troops as part of the defense of Isolone Fortress, whereas if he goes to join the exile government, he will have that formal title, but literally no one's as an army serving under him, so there's a sort of irony in that situation, both those situations.
Imagine an admiral with no army. Weird.
And then Reinhardt makes a galaxy-wide broadcast to both the Empire and the Alliance, declaring war on the Alliance for kidnapping the Kaiser, essentially.
Yeah.
And we get shots of people all over the galaxy watching TV. For instance, Rubinsky's office, where he's wearing a rather fetching orange jacket.
You literally saw him
White
and were
turtleneck.
like... You literally went, man, Rubinsky really is the fashionista of this show.
I said style icon.
Sorry, style icon of this show.
Various miscellaneous bars, what look to be a cowboy planet, where everyone's wearing neckerchiefs.
And that's the merchant ship
Yeah,
guy, and he's all like, hey, what? Yeah, everyone's just like, oh.
Literally, all the significant characters we've seen that are still alive are watching this broadcast.
Some disappointed, some not disappointed, and then the Grand
Earth
Bishop...
Cult in their secret underground TV cave with their huge braziers and their huge egg-shaped TV screen.
Oh my god, it's so extra. With the Grand Bishop, no idea what his name is. I don't know if it's Degby.
No, Dexby's another bishop. The Grand Bishop is just the Grand Bishop.
He's just Grand Bishop.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Grand Bishop.
Grant Bishop.
Please, Grant is my father. You can call me Grand Bishop.
So yeah, they're all getting ready for war because inevitably they all assume that they'll be coming through the Isolone corridor, but Yang is once again being pensive and effortlessly deducing schemes and plots, and it's unsaid by the narrator at this time, but I'm sure the implication is, as Reinhardt negotiated previously, they'll go through Fazan instead.
Yep, as one is to do.
But that was the end of that episode.
Hot damn.
Hot damn.
Big et.
Highlights, lowlights?
My highlight is the Kaiser, the little shitlord,
What a little dick.
hucking his soup at the captain and beating down on that fucking peasant shitpant. Just because, like, what the fuck, you know?
But it's almost like if you give a child limitless authority, they don't grow up in a well-adjusted situation.
Oh, it's so dumb, but I love it. It's so good. Yeah.
Was that your highlight or lowlight?
That's
Sorry.
my highlight for sure. Just because it's so ridiculous, but it makes perfect sense. This guy's a shithead.
I think my highlight was everyone pouring themselves drinks. Wonderful little moment.
Julian being like,
It was never addressed in the dialogue. It was just a little character thing that was happening in the animation. I just really appreciated it.
Yeah. It also has that nice... You know how partially the Empire, Lohengrin wanted to take it over because it's like all the old blood is taken over. There's no room for like young ideas and free thinkers and whatnot. And this is sort of like,
it's the inverse of that,
the
where
inverse,
young Julian is adhering to the codes and regulations, but everyone else is like, fuck, I need a drink.
Exactly. And he's just like, this is going to be the downfall. And then he'll radicalize.
It'll kill Yang Wen Li.
Exactly. Some magician you are, can't even resurrect
Shazam!
Lowlights.
Lowlights.
It's a hard one. Even though it should be easy for these 2 episodes for me, because there was a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of nothing.
Look, I'm just getting sick of people being like, I've failed. Time to kill myself.
I fucking love that shit, though. Although it was off screen this time. We didn't have a big speech about his philosophy in life. Where he came from.
Underwhelming self-kill.
Yeah. It's a shame. Real shame. I want to say my low light is Mariendorf's conversation with Lohengrin, because nothing really happened. It was like, so you're doing that thing? Yes. Wow.
I still support you.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. Great.
Yep, fair enough.
Fantastic.
Okay, so, well,
Next time.
Kaiser kidnapped, war declared.
They wouldn't dare go through the Fazan corridor. Surely not.
What will happen next time on Legend of the Galactic Heroes in the episode's entitled The Arrow is Released. No, hang on, that was the second one we watched today.
Yep.
A Departure. And the subsequent episode, Julian's Journey, Mankind's Journey.
Oh, okay.
That makes it sound like he's about to go on some interstellar-style galactic odyssey.
Yeah, maybe...
But it's probably more metaphorical than that. A Departure.
A departure.
Maybe Julian is going to walk away from Iserlohn.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking, right? Maybe he's like, listen, I want to go fight on the front lines. Yang's all like, I don't think they're going to come through Iserlohn Fortress, but my station is here. Julian, I'm going to make you make this choice and not me tell you to do it. But if you really want to be a soldier, I would go down this way.
Because there's so much in the ending sequences of like Julian standing alone and looking up into space.
On like a crater or something. Yeah.
I mean, that could just be symbolism.
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
Or like in the previous ending where he... before we'd even really got to know him as a character, the last shot of it was him looking up at, like, the silhouette of Reinhardt in space.
Yeah. So maybe... Okay, here's my big theory.
Sure, let's not get fixated on episode titles. Let's just think about what we think is going to happen.
So Julian, I still reckon is going to leave to go down to Fazan Corridor because Yang, having pieced it together, will confide in him, as he always does as he's being made tea, and be like, I don't think they're going to come through Iserlohn Fortress. I reckon they're going to come this way. And Julian, of his own volition, will depart head on down. And Yang will be like, where the hell are you going? Why are you leaving? And Poplin will be like, where the hell are you going? Why are you leaving?
Take me with you.
Yeah. Lohengrin will stick around.
Well, I think there's also going to be an element of, that ethical conundrum they were all grappling with about can we fight a war to defend the Kaiser, which might lead to some desertions and things like that.
Ah, true. Like, what's his name?
Attenborough.
No, not Attenborough. The Admiral guy.
Merkatz.
Merkatz.
Well, no, I don't think he will.
You don't think he's going to leave?
I mean, he might leave to go to the...
Yeah, to go to the Kaiser.
Yeah, but that's... I mean, desert the military.
Oh, to become space pirates?
Whatever, I don't know.
Wink. Yeah, maybe. Possibly. Because everyone's like, so we were fighting against the Kaiser, now we're supporting the Kaiser. What the fuck?
Yeah.
We're going to desert, do our own thing, make another different government.
Or just
a band of dudes.
Or just go to Fazan and become farmers. That's what people do when they desert, apparently.
True. Maybe. Possibly, yeah. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I figure we're going to keep it nice and simple with just... Although now that I say that...
Oh,
the
nice
show's
and
nothing
simple
but
in this
simple.
show?
Yeah. Well, maybe then. Maybe they'll make their own little home on Fazan and then come back later and be like, listen, we couldn't sit down. We had to do something. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out all of that and more next time on Legend of Galactic Heroes on JoJo's World, the JoJo's World Galactic Tour.
It's a big time. A big
It
place.
is. It's a big time space.
Big time space.
And we'll return to that big time space in about 2 weeks. But until then, to be continued.